Welcome to Evaluating Policies Affecting Staff. When supervisors are evaluating the policies that affect their employees, there are 3 questions that should guide the process. Firstly, are there policies in place? Sometimes there are pressing concerns that do not have explicit policies in place, and so employees have to figure it out on their own. If there are policies in place, the next questions to ask are these policies relevant, and are these policies recovery-oriented? Let's look at some examples. Manny's role is to do outreach for individuals experiencing homelessness. His job is to refer individuals to housing services and help with rapid rehousing. One day, Manny encounters someone who, in addition to housing needs, is expressing a need for substance use recovery help. Are there policies in place for Manny in this situation? Even though substance recovery is not an explicit part of Manny's job, he is finding that it is a common need amongst his participants. And it is starting to affect his housing work. Many of the local housing resources have sobriety requirements or are not able to provide substance recovery support. Because there's not a protocol in place, Manny and his coworkers are left to figure out these issues out on their own. In this instance, a lack of protocols can be just as harmful as bad protocols. Manny and his team are left to try to figure out a common issue on their own, when the best strategy would be for them to have guidance from their supervisor or agency of what to do in this situation. That way, Manny and his coworkers can be united and equipped to handle these scenarios. Are these policies relevant? Kate has been recently hired as a case manager who is assigned to work with several participants on her caseload. When it comes to scheduling appointments with case managers, the official policy of the organization is that participants should use the online scheduling system to request an appointment. It states that case managers should exclusively communicate with their participants via email in order to protect both parties' privacy. As Kate starts meeting with her participants, she encounters a problem. Many of her participants don't have access to a computer or the internet. Additionally, many are elderly, disabled, or have low technological skills that make borrowing someone else's computer or using computers at a local library not realistically feasible. When Kate asks her coworker for advice, they tell her, just use your personal cell phone to call them at home and then put appointments in the online schedule yourself. That's what we all do. Now Kate has to decide whether to deliberately go against her agency's policy or alienate some of her participants from services. In this case, when asking the question, are these policies relevant, the answer is no. Supervisors must consider whether the agency policies are relevant to the population they serve, if they are useful, and if they are realistic. This particular policy is out of touch with the realities of the program. While creating an online scheduling system and only communicating via email would certainly be efficient, it is not tuned into the needs of the population that is being served, and therefore not benefiting case managers nor their clients. The final question to ask is this policy recovery-oriented? Part of the success of peer support is in its recovery-oriented approach, but this approach does not have to be limited just to peer supporters. Supervisors of non-peer programs can apply recovery best practices to all of their services in order to improve participant outcomes. Darren works in a medication-assisted treatment facility as a clinician's assistant. In his facility, Darren follows several recovery-oriented protocols aimed at improving outcomes for clients. When talking to new potential clients, Darren uses non-stigmatizing language, answers all questions, and assures the individual that participation is always voluntary. During the intake session, Darren is required to ask the participant about their goals within the program and if they have any support systems. It is policy that each participant is given information about the rights for individuals on medication-assisted treatment, including non-discrimination laws in regards to employment and housing. Darren makes sure that the treatment center always has copies in multiple languages and that he can answer questions that individuals may have. Understanding that MAT is most successful when combined with counseling and behavioral therapies, Darren regularly provides participants with useful resources. In this scenario, recovery-oriented policies are successfully put into place to best support and respect the individuals the agency serves. The thorough policies also benefit Darren, by making it clear to the non-peer staff how they can best implement the recovery-oriented model in their workplace. So when supervisors are reviewing the practices that affect their staff, it is important to consider the following questions. Are there policies in place? Are these policies relevant? And are these policies recovery-oriented?